Okay, welcome everybody to another Real Talk podcast. This is where we bring you information that will inspire, motivate, and empower you to be the very best that you can be. And it gives me great pleasure for episode 4 to bring you my good friend, Mr. Ben Watson, the fitness guru.
Hi Denzel, hi everyone.
Doing? Okay, my man. We've got a real big topic that we're going to talk about today. So I'm hoping that you're had your Weetabix all prepared or researched up.
Avocados, not Weetabix.
Avocados, that's it. He's the healthy guy. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is fitness, and that's why we brought Ben on here. So Ben, before we get into some of the things I really wanted to discuss, let's learn a little bit about your fitness background, who you are, what you do, what your passions are about, and things like that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are you up to?
So I grew up in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I was always involved in something active, something physical, whether it be football, rugby, athletics, pretty much everything I could do.
Yeah.
I guess you could say I was a jack of all trades and a master of none.
That's me.
And then so I went on looking at sport and biology and physical education, and then from there went on to do sport and exercise science, and really had a passion for more the kind of the exercise, the kind of the physiology behind the body, and working with people. So so I went on to become a personal trainer, and then
that sounds so grand. It's like a sexy industry, isn't it? Like you do really like, what do you do? I'm a personal trainer. That's what
it sounds it, but in reality it's tough.
Oh, okay, it's a lot of work.
So I think like any business, you'll realize quite quickly, if you haven't got your head screwed on, you'll kind of lose out quite quickly, and I think that's what happened with me. I went all out 6 months. Not really any knowledge of business at all. Did my kind of qualifications and then thought, okay, now I can run a business. But actually, it was far from the truth. And so I kind of took a step back.
Where were you? So your personal training, just on that, where was that? That in London?
Yeah. So sorry, that was So I did exercise science in West London.
Oh, okay.
London.
Your accent changing. I don't know if you noticed that.
Is it?
If you're listening back to the podcast, London. West London. Okay,
I tend to pick up things from lots of people. I don't know what accent I speak anymore.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
So that was in West London, and
he's paranoid.
And so I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's all good.
So started working in a couple of gyms, and then kind of just realized the importance of having some stability alongside instability. Risk, but minimized risk, and trying not just to go all out, especially when you got a wife and a kid. And so it's just trying to kind of think, take calculated risks. And so from there, just got involved in working in health clubs and training people alongside kind of managing centers. And I wanted to have a taste of kind of central London to see kind of what that's all about in terms of
it's more popular there. And the reason I say this, living down in London, everybody runs down in London. You're either running, you're on a bike, you're on a skirt. Like everybody's got that. Even if you wear in suits, you got trainers. It's a big thing in London, fitness. I come to the Midlands, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that.
And it's great, when I was there, because I started working in a gym in Chelsea, and I lived kind of just outside Wimbledon, so it was kind of a 45-minute kind of bike ride in and out. You don't take cars, and tubes would take too long, so I'd just cycle in, cycle out every day, and
awesome.
I was probably the leanest I think I've ever been. So
you're looking pretty lean now.
Not bad. The age is catching up. So loved it, and just kind of was exposed to kind of really unique clientele.
Awesome. What does that mean? What does that mean for?
So I mean, because it was based in kind of South Kensington, London. Chelsea area.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, okay, yeah. The creme de la creme of clients.
Well, yeah.
Or money-wise, anyway. Yeah,
you could say that. And so generally people would go to the gym that are local in that area. you can imagine, like I went to kind of just had a look at an estate agent's just around the corner, and I think a 1-bedroom apartment was like £2 million.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So and then it kind of like David,
so your fee of like £1,000 an hour was nothing to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. And so yeah, I really enjoyed like just being exposed to that environment and really kind of people that are very successful and doing very well. But I was working for someone else, and I guess there was something inside of me that I wasn't too sure about that. You know, I was they were charging a lot of money, and you know, I had a basic amount of money, and you know, the business owner was the one that took all the risks. So fair enough, you know, I knew what I was signing up to, but part of me was always interested in kind of doing something for myself.
Oh, okay.
And so I at the same time, when I've kind of always been on courses, I've always been interested in when I see someone teaching me, like interested in teaching others. And it kind of opened up a world of just education for me, and so you know, and it kind of goes hand in hand, like whilst training people, teaching people, and from there I went on to kind of do a few basic teaching qualifications, and then started teaching health and fitness, first of all for kind of a few private training providers, and then I ended up in prison.
What, literally? Like, are you in prison? Is this a whole new Ricky Lake show? This is come from Real Talk to the Ricky Lake show, and you want to tell us why you're in prison?
Well, yeah, no. There was an opportunity to teach kind of health and fitness within a prison, and
fantastic.
And part of me was always interested in kind of reaching out to that like demographic as well and stuff, and so it was a great opportunity to learn. The first experience I had, I'll be honest, the environment was pretty hostile, and you know,
it is jail.
Well, there's jails and then there's jails.
Oh, right,
like,
okay, right.
You know, like
Ross Kemp.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, he came to the prison I'm at now last week.
Oh, wow.
And he said, this isn't my type of prison, I think, because it's too good. But,
right.
So the first kind of prison I worked at is just, you know, within like 1 year, they had riots that were across the news, and, you know, like prisoners taking keys off people, and, you know, like buildings on fire and stuff like that. So
that's your regular type of working day.
Exactly.
I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I started off at a pretty extreme place, and then you know, I ended up coming across to another prison, still within kind of the Birmingham area, and it was just the complete opposite. And you know, it's just a real positive place. You know, really kind of setting up things that impact people, and so I run the health and fitness courses, getting people so that they know how to train themselves, how to develop themselves, and then possibly work as a trainer or as a coach or a manager or something involved in fitness, and to get them on their feet.
Wow, I tell you what, you've crammed a lot of things into a short amount of time. You only look like you're 25.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay. Also, obviously, you are working and spearheading now a thing called GenFit as well. So that would be like an online platform to help people on their fitness journey as well. So we can give you more details about that.
Yeah, really excited about that. And so I think, you know, there's this saying that haunts me, and it's like, those who can't do, teach. And you know, I was like, you know, it's so easy for a teacher just to teach, but you know, the sign of a true master is that, and I'm not calling myself a master at all, but that you're actually doing and teaching and learning as you go along. And so this is a great opportunity with GenFit to set up an online based kind of training and education platform to create products, memberships, educational resources, social media that kind of works with people in a bigger picture, and so just doing those two things together is where I spend most of my time.
Come on, man. Exciting things to come. So obviously we'll keep you posted on those developments there. So we know that you're qualified now. So anyone's listening to the program, they know that you're qualified and you can answer some of the questions that we have. And I just really wanted to read out some stats first. Okay, so before we ask you some questions, I want to read you some stats that I've been reading. One of them is that life expectancy is growing, which is good. Now, I don't know, from a health standpoint, that sounds like a good thing. So women now are going to live till they're 85 and men 82. I don't know why. I'm always shocked by that, why men seem to not last as long as women. Maybe there's a question there for later on. So we're living longer, which is really good. And we're spending more on healthcare and trying to make people healthier and things like that. But here was the interesting thing. 26% of the UK population are obese. That threw me. I was like, 26% of the population. That's like 1 in 4 people, adults that you see, will be overweight. So I was like, oh, okay, let's dig into this a little bit deeper. So when I started to have a look at the stats, they said 58% of women are obese or overweight. I was like, 58, more than 1 in 2 women that you come across or, are going to be obese. Now, it's even higher for men. It's almost 70%, okay, of men were obese. Now, that was bad enough. Now, here's the thing that really got me. 1 in 5 children in reception were obese or overweight, and 1 in 3 children in year 6 going into secondary school were also overweight. And I think there was over 500,000 admissions to the NHS where obesity was recorded as a main factor. I was like, what is going on here? Now, here's the last part I want to go into before we go into the questions. So you've got all this, and I couldn't understand this. I was like, but hold on, there seems to be more gyms and more knowledge out there, and PTs, guys, good-looking guys like you in sexy tops to help people to make it happen. So I was looking at, let me have a look at some of the facts, and I was like, okay, how many gyms are there? There's almost 6,500 fitness facilities. So whether that be in a hotel, a big Virgin gym, or something like that, a Bannatynes, or a CrossFit gym, which is really popular now. And they say, but only 1 in 7 people are using fitness facilities. I was like, what is going on? So here's a question. Like, I don't know. Why do you feel, okay, that people are not taking up regular exercise and we're seeing more and more people become obese or overweight? That's frightening. What is the answer? I
think it's an interesting phenomenon because, as someone who lived in London for a while, you go to the big city and you think, like endless opportunities and so many people and all of that but London's a big place. Yeah. It can take like 2 hours to get from one side to the other. And it has kind of the opposite effect to what you would think. People actually become more isolated than they do integrated. Yeah. And in terms of, I had friends on the other side of London where, they were great, like really close friends, but you'd never see them. Yeah. So you might have like lots of friends all over the place, but you never see them. Yeah. And I'll come back to the question. And so you become slowly more isolated. Like we lived in part of West London, and it was a really nice place, but we had no real connections to the community, the area, and that was part of the reason why we ended up coming back to Birmingham to live here, because we just had no community there at all, and there's a connection there with what's happened in society now, that life's become so convenient that we don't even have to get off our sofa to do anything.
You're shopping now, isn't it? That's it. Like, go shopping now.
Exactly.
I order it in and then knock the door and bam, there we are.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And I think, life becomes really convenient with, and that's a great thing, with the rise of all sorts of social media and platforms. It makes things much more efficient, but at the same time, it makes it much easier for us to become isolated, to be frequently talking with people on Facebook, but they're not actually able to have a proper conversation with someone in person. And I think the same applies to fitness, where people might seem like they're interested in these type of things, but they're losing track of how to actually integrate with the people around them, and I'm guilty of it myself sometimes. Where you go to like a gym and you put your headphones on. I don't want to talk to you at all. I'm just here doing my thing, so leave me alone. And that type of kind of mentality.
So is one of the things that you're saying then that even though there's a rise in gyms, so 6,500 gyms, that one of the things is there's actually the fear of walking in that place. And like some of the gyms are like 5,000 people, and you go there at 5:30 and it's packed. And you walk in and it's like, well, I don't even talk to my neighbor. I don't want to walk into a place where I feel like everyone's watching me when I walk in, especially if you're overweight. If you're saying like 70% of men, you're walking in there and you're thinking, they want to look at me. And do you think that's one of the main problems then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
I think for some who are very highly driven, that works. Sometimes I struggle to have a conversation with people while I'm training, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but ultimately you have to enjoy training. You have to enjoy the experience of doing exercise, of being involved in something. Otherwise you'll leave, and so you might get people joining and then like, actually I'd rather just stay at home. There's this funny kind of thing in exercise where people feel like they've got to punish themselves.
Is that not the case?
It's almost like
I have to go there and kill. That's it. I want my t-shirt to be soaked.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if it's not all like totally wet, I'm like wringing it out. I don't think I've done a work. Is that not the case?
Obviously we want to work hard, but we don't want to punish ourselves for the sake of punishing ourselves.
Right. Oh, okay. So fitness can be fun.
Fitness should be fun.
Oh, fitness should be. Oh, okay. There's a challenge. Fitness should be fun.
There will be hard days, but generally you should be enjoying what you're doing. And if you're not, then there's two solutions. One is to educate yourself to a point where you know what you're doing so that you can enjoy it, or the other one is to kind of get around people that can lead you and help you. So
what would you say then? Okay, so people are listening to this and going like, I'm one of those in the 70%. I am overweight or I am obese and I want to get fit, but I really don't want to go to the gym. Okay, the thought of it scares me. I'm an isolated creature. What would you advise as a former PT? Someone comes through to you and said, look, I really want to train, but I don't really want to go to the gym, but I really want to get started. What would you say? Or how would you overcome the fear of the gym maybe? Or how can you get started without the gym? What kind of things would you say there?
I think people try to take on too much at once. If you look at like the research in terms of the psychology of our behavior, it takes on average 2 weeks of doing something repeatedly every day before it becomes a habit.
Right.
And so what will happen is people try to do 10, 20 different things straight away from the off, and then 1 week in they've failed at all of them, and then feel rubbish, and then kind of jump off the bandwagon, as opposed to just kind of setting yourself a target, something really easy. 2 weeks later, have you done it? Yes, great. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Or no, okay, let's adjust it, maybe extend the time or change the target. And so I think what I would say is to try and find, like, I know it comes back to SMART goals, and this is so over taught, but making it
if
something,
it works.
And I think it's just doing something that's achievable. and not trying to overcommit to something. You know, there's this kind of funny snowball effect. When you start training, when you start exercising, you feel good, so you want to do more, and then you do more, and then you feel better, and then suddenly you're like, actually, maybe I don't feel like eating this and that, and then suddenly, like 6 months later, you look back and you realize, hold on, I've completely changed everything here. But it's bit by bit, little by little.
Okay, so the first step would be, don't bite off too much. Okay, first thing, if I am scared, maybe just go for a walk. Okay, it doesn't even have to be the gym then.
Yeah,
just go for a regular walk, regular jog. Start feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then grow in that confidence. Oh, okay. So for those people who are overweight, there is still no excuse. Okay, do a little bit. So what are real benefits then? Obviously, you know, only 1 in 7 of us are doing it. But what are key benefits? Like, obviously, we know losing weight and stuff like that. But what are the other benefits? What are the things that why we should be doing fitness? As a fitness guru, tell us why. Why should we be doing that?
I can't claim to be.
Because not everybody wants to be an Adonis. Like, I know loads of people who really have no desire to have like muscles rippling from everywhere in the six pack. Okay, but fitness is still important for those who don't want to look like an Adonis on the Ibiza beach. Okay, so what is that?
I think, you know, that as I get older, you know, I'm 32 now, so...
Oh, you're looking good, bro. God has given you some favor.
You know, when you're young, it's all about how you look.
Yeah.
And then as you get a little bit older, you start to realize it's more about just living life.
Yeah.
And trying to find a way to live a better life.
Yeah.
And so obviously everybody wants to look good. You know, if you go shopping and you buy clothes, you don't buy clothes that you don't look good, do you? So it's the same thing with training. Everybody wants to look good, but then you have to prioritize the importance of things, and so in terms of exercise, you know, you should be able to function. If you're so big and tight that you can't walk down the street properly, you know, then what's the point? We need to be able to function properly. We need to be able to move properly, and if you can't, then maybe you need to sacrifice something so that you are, you know, can we squat properly? Can we lunge properly?
Well, why is that important though? Like, no, in my everyday life, I don't know about you, I'm not squatting like every day. But why is that important?
Well, you are squatting every day.
I am squatting every day.
Because
okay, here comes a revelation.
I would imagine you go to the toilet every day, right?
Okay, I don't really want to air too much on the podcast, but amen. Okay, no, it's true. No, okay, that's a good point.
I would imagine that, you know, you sit down like you're doing now, and so you have to get up and get down. And the problem is when you haven't trained your body to function in a natural way, you compensate by doing things moving in ways that your body doesn't like to move, and then consequently end up picking injuries or picking, you know, I think there's something ridiculous like 80% of people have a lower back problem in their life at some point, and so you know, if you're able to move efficiently as your body was designed to move, then you work more efficiently and are much less likely to pick up things that will inhibit you.
Well, something I was trying something out today, which is a real. It was actually yesterday. It was in a group I was in yesterday, and we had this like men's connect group. And every time someone comes around, obviously you've got to stand up and give them a hug. And I thought, I'm going to try and get out of the seat without using my hands. And my gosh, it was difficult. Do you know what I mean? Just getting out of the chair without actually putting your hands. So actually that goes back to squatting, isn't it? Because the stronger you are, the easier it is to get out of the chair. In little things like that you take for granted, you start getting harder if you're not working those muscles. So actually, we should put a test out there. Okay, if you're at home now and you're listening to this podcast and you're sitting in the chair, get out of the chair without using your hands. And if it's real difficult, you need to be squatting.
Definitely.
Okay.
Also, actually, another challenge that's even better than that is...
Okay, here we go.
To see if you can sit on the floor, cross your legs, and then stand up without moving your legs away from that position, if that makes sense. So no arms.
No arms,
You basically legs crossed. See if you can get up from that position without moving your leg forward or stepping forward, if that makes sense.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to get a video on the GenFit. Get your GenFit guys doing a fitness challenge so we can see that video. Can you do it?
I can. Yeah. So I'm not too bad. But you know, these are the type of things that Yeah, it's good to be strong.
Yeah.
Because we need to be strong.
Because otherwise you get a trophy, right? And that's a word I picked up. I must have been reading a Men's Health magazine, and they said obviously that if you're not training, you get a trophy, and that's really important as we get older. Like I'm 40 now, I'm not as gifted as you at 32. But what does that mean? Like muscle or trophy, and why is that important that we should be doing weights as well? Like I read, that weights bearing exercise is really important. So, because you talked about functional exercises like, squats and lunges, and that represents getting out of the toilet or getting out of the chair. But why is doing weight bearing exercises so important for us, even if you're not trying to be an Adonis, as we mentioned earlier?
I think I guess just one thing that comes to mind is as you do weight training, it helps bones grow, which means that you've got a reduced chance of things like osteoporosis, osteoarthritis. So when you move and you lift, it stimulates growth in your bones, so that they grow stronger and more dense. So I know that. Fantastic. I know like younger people might think, all right, I don't want to think about that, but then later on in life, one of the biggest problems is people falling, and so a significant amount of people, the biggest kind of cause of death is people falling. So if you fall, it's not the fall that'll kill you, but actually the associated things that happen after it because you've fallen, that are the things that end up causing the problem. Right. So the stronger you are in terms of your bones, the less likely they are to snap. Also, if you're strong in terms of just everyday life, and you're able to function, it'd be like pushing, pulling, squatting, lunging, twisting. You're much more even in everything that you do. Just everyday tasks that you might have to do.
Tell me if this is true or not. And once again, I've been reading up on some data because I knew you were coming on. One of the things that they said is obviously as you're mentioning, if your body's functioning better because it's all well balanced, highly tuned and things like that. Maybe not even highly tuned, that makes it sound like you got to be an athlete, but tuned, because you're doing some form of exercise. Actually, your body doesn't have to work as hard, which means that you're not feeling as lethargic. So you actually got more energy to expend in the right way, where your body's expending energy because you're not as tuned or toned or whatever it may be. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. So that comes back to, like you're saying, with atrophy, where and hypertrophy being the opposite, as in when you build muscle. So the ultimate goal is to be you're burning most of your energy when you're at rest. So you're burning when you're at rest or very low intensity. That's when you're burning carbs and fats. Right. And it's much more complex than that, but in kind of simple terms, you're burning carbs and fats at rest. Which means that you want to be working in a way that you're burning a lot of energy in the gym, and muscle will burn more energy than fat, because fat is just like adipose tissue, so it's not going to burn anything. Right. Whereas muscle is going to burn a lot of energy. So the more muscle you the more muscle you have, the more fat that you will burn at rest.
Okay. Because that's like a myth. It's like a myth buster. I didn't have the right voice for that, but the myth buster. So if you want to lose fat, I see a lot of people go in the gym and they'll do a lot of cardio. But actually, if you want to burn a lot of fat, really should be doing weight bearing exercises then.
Definitely, yeah.
The more muscle that you have, the more fat it burns at rest.
I think that I guess there's two sides of that, really, because I see a lot of people that lift weights frequently, but but maybe are quite lazy in the way they do it. They'll do a set, have a kind of few minutes, and then have a chat, and then do another one. Right. So that's not to say, if you're in the gym, you need to be focused, and or any exercise that you need to be focused and working hard. On average, let's say you do like an average weight training session, you're burning somewhere between 200 to 300 calories.
Okay.
Whereas say you did a run, a fast run for an hour, you would be burning about 1,000 calories. So in terms of calorie burning, we want to have a mixture, because like we said, Okay, so the more muscle we have, the more we burn at rest, which is great. But we've still got to burn off a significant amount of energy.
Yeah.
So it's the most in terms of just fat loss. The ideal approach is to combine both high intensity training with
what's that? When you say high intensity training, for anyone who's not like a fitness expert, what does that mean?
So looking at things that you're getting gassy, like you're
like running.
Yeah, so you're sweating, you're breathing heavy. Okay, I don't like to use the term cardio because the industry's misinterpreted that, but something
like a political thing there.
something that gets you gassy, that gets you sweating, that gets you breathing. And that can be anything really. It can be something where I don't know, you're I guess circuit training is your obvious one, but it could be something where CrossFit is great because they've got so many different types of workouts where you combine, say, 4 exercises. You do, I don't know, a minute on, every minute on the minute you do 4 exercises, and then you got 4 rounds for time. So all sorts of kind of different ways where you do it, where you're working as hard as you can, and you kind of it's high intensity, but it's working kind of different muscle groups.
So far that you said, so the benefits are for those guys who are not going so far. All right, we've talked about the benefits are going to be you can do your everyday task better, whether that be walking the stairs, getting off the toilet. I gotta keep on saying that, getting off the toilet. Getting out of the chair. You're also, the more muscle that you have if you do weight bearing exercise, is that you'll be burning fat, which is nobody wants to walk around with fat, because that actually makes you tired. Okay, but what about there's something that I was reading up about, the feel good factor of the endorphins, or is that the right word? I don't know if I said that right. So there's a release of endorphins. That sounds real sexy, like if you train, you get a release of endorphins. What does that mean?
It's like, it's that hormone where you feel good about what you've done, and life's better. If you,
who doesn't want life to feel better?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think we all do. But maybe you kind of you might kind of get sidetracked, or maybe decide not to do it, but actually the benefit of doing it is much greater, and it's kind of I think it's like an addictive type of thing where you feel good because you do it. I think at the opposite end of the extreme though, I see a lot of insecurity, particularly in most kind of big, I guess call them globo gyms or whatever, where people are never happy.
How they look.
Exactly.
Right, okay. Is that body dysmorphia?
Yeah, exactly.
You like this? I did my research, bro. I did my research, man. I'm starting to sound like an expert up in here.
I think body dysmorphia, and then also, particularly for ladies, am I ever thin enough? And I've been guilty of it as well. You get to a certain level, you're like, oh, I've got a little bit of fat there. I really want to get rid of it. And then you realize actually that you're never actually happy with who you are and how you are. And so yes, we want to feel good. Like we want to reduce, improve those kind of endorphins and produce more. At the same time, coming back to what we said at the start, that it's important that you feel good in terms of you're enjoying what you're doing.
Feel good, look good.
Exactly. And I've found from personal experience that performance-based goals are much better in terms of how you feel. If your goal is always based around, I want to be I don't know, 10% body fat, or I want to be I don't know, I want to be
size 12 dress or size 10 dress or something like that.
That's great, that's really good. But in terms of just longevity and lasting a long time, I think that things where you've got a sense of achievement, you've achieved something you're working towards, and at the same time, the other things will happen. You don't need to smash your abs like 7 days a week. Whereas
that's what I've been doing too. Every day I've been doing like 50, 100. No, I don't really. Anyway, just
so you can do other things that are good, and you can achieve certain performance targets, and in the process still burn the stuff away. And actually, some of the big kind of big movements like compound moves, where you do things like your squats, your deadlifts, your press pressing is actually more effective at kind of getting visible abs anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So I keep on recapping so I don't forget them myself. So some of the key things, as you said, functional movement, which is good. And that's the benefit of exercising, so please do that. Obviously, if you do weight-bearing exercise, obviously you'll burn fat even when you're at rest, which is a benefit even when you're sleeping. There is endorphins, so you're going to make you feel good. So it's like a natural high, a great way of getting the high. You don't have to take drugs, you don't have to drink loads of alcohol. You can actually get a high from going to the gym. There's a feel good. So free key benefit. Anything else that you would say to anyone who's like, why do I want to do the gym? It seems like such an effort, but so far you brought out 3 key benefits. So as you start to bring a closer show, is anything else that you think you'd really want to share with people, say that this is a real benefit and why you should do it, or anything like that?
I think there's this thing that there's a guy called Alwyn Cosgrove who has a gym in California and has done lots of really good things for fitness and health, and he came up with this model called the hierarchy of fat loss.
Hierarchy of fat loss.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I definitely recommend anybody who wants to know what are the most effective ways of burning fat that you look up Alwyn Cosgrove hierarchy of fat loss. I think you can even get like a PDF online. You might be able to download that.
Wow.
And he basically goes through the most effective ways based on how much time you have to burn fat. And like we said, at the top of that is weight training and high intensity interval training. And so it kind of it opens your eyes up to, okay, so if I have, I don't know, 3 hours of time a week, or 4 or 5 or whatever you have, what's the most effective use of my time if my goal is fat loss, for example? Not to say that everybody's goal is, but and so that's one thing that I definitely look up. That's a really useful tool. Cool.
I tell you, I'm going to just there's something I heard about, if you really want to start to lose weight as well, obviously we got all these strategies, but I heard someone say this, and I live by this, and I more from a personal development side, that if you want to change who you are, raise your standards. Change your standards. So what does that mean? Everybody knows what they should do. I should go to the gym, I should lose weight, I should eat healthy, I should train 3 times a week. We all know, so we know what we should do, but it doesn't become a must. So the one thing I'd say as well is that if you really want to lose weight, you got to make it a must, and the way that you make it a must is by changing your standards. And the very easiest, best way of doing that is actually change the people you're around. Okay, it doesn't mean you stop being in friends with them, but if you want to get fit, get around people who are fit. And what does that mean is that those are the guys who will say, come on, we're not watching EastEnders, or we're not watching Love Island tonight, we're actually going down to the gym. Okay, I'm going to meet you there, you meet me there, and I think get yourself a gym buddy. I know that really works for me when I first started off. I've actually gone away from it. I've actually now got a new gym buddy. And the reason I say that, he called me and said, a guy called Tony, and he said, oh man, Denz, I see you go to the gym. Can I meet you? So I'm like, yeah, if you're going to train there. So I'm like, where are you at, bro? It's 9 o'clock. So now I hold him accountable, and I now push him, even though he knows if he walked in, he'd probably walk out after about 10 minutes, go, yeah, that was me, I'm done. So I think get a gym buddy. So raise your standards by getting around people who are doing something that you want to do within that. But there's so many benefits. I think, to be honest, I wish there was more time here, but go on, you was about to say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that entirely. There's a saying that like iron sharpens iron. You know, when you get around iron, it sharpens you to become sharper. And so I guess that applies to any walk of life. Get around, the people that you want to be more like. I had to make a conscious decision like a few years ago where, sometimes when you see people that are amazing, you can get intimidated and and hide away, but actually you need to think of yourself as the same as them, and actually be comfortable at being around them, because you're just the same as them. And as you start to increase the people that you're around, like I know quite a few like professional footballers and people that are kind of like higher performance people, and it's trying to start to kind of get around people and start to become more like them. And I think training partners are great. I actually don't have one, because my training is I don't like to wait around for people. And I'm trying different things and new things all the time. So it's difficult to find somebody that's a similar kind of profile to me. And also, I train in the prison anyway, so you know.
I don't think there are many people in there, man. I don't open invite. Yeah, come in, bro. Come in.
But I think it's essential that you have some sort of community. Yeah. And this is I mean, most people know that, you know, this is one of the strengths of CrossFit. Some good CrossFit gyms have amazing communities.
Awesome.
And it helps you to come to a place where, you know, you enjoy being with people that have kind of got similar things to you, and whether that be, you know, a training partner, a training group, a running group, a CrossFit gym, to try and integrate, and so that you kind of you're doing something together. So to find ways that you can kind of be a part of with other people.
Come on, awesome. And just take the first step. Like, anyone's listening to this, you know, and you're thinking, just take the first step. Go for a walk. You know, something like that. Go for a little run, 5 minutes. Just get started. So
yeah, definitely. And I think it's very easy just to hear that and like, oh yeah, and then 2 minutes later, like, oh, you know, I'm not.
Do it now.
And I think the key is, you know, coming back to setting yourself some targets, and, you know, just maybe writing it down, getting it documented. You know, like I've got like a few things that I'm working on at the moment. Like, for example, I'm training to run my fastest 5K ever. And I'm hoping to get like a fast time, ideally under 18 minutes.
I don't think you can beat me, bro. I don't think you can beat me, bro. I think you're gonna have to train real hard, a real long time to beat me on that. I'm only joking. Yeah, go ahead.
And so again, a performance-based target rather than like an aesthetic-based target. But to set yourself can be frequently setting yourself targets all the time. You know, whether it be every week, every month, just kind of think about targets that kind of excite you, you know, you're interested in, whether it be running a man versus mountain, or whether it be something like, I don't know, competing in a triathlon or whatever it is.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, look, you know, hopefully, I think we're going to have to get you back on, talking about, I think one of the key ones is how you burn fat. I think if we did a show, what are the best ways of burning fat? Okay, because I think that's, you know, if 70% of men are overweight, I think it's a big topical issue, and I know you gave them the PDF that they could. Who's the guy again?
Alwyn Cosgrove.
Right. So
Hierarchy of Fat Loss.
Awesome. So we know you can download it. I think if we was to break it down, I think that'd be a real good show. Are you prepared to come back on?
I think I would be, but I have a friend that might be better at explaining them.
Oh, bring him both on. Bring yourself and him on as well.
And he's like a functional medicine specialist and understands.
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor, and he understands the body.
Dr. Fat.
Much more than I do. So yeah, definitely. But I'd be happy to do something.
Let's do that. Well, so thank you for joining us for episode 4 with the fitness guru, Mr. Ben Watson, obviously from the GenFit team, who will be bringing you more and more things there. And obviously, if you have any questions, please drop some things through via social media, send us emails, and obviously we will get Ben to answer any of your questions. And here's the question I throw out to everybody: you know, what is stopping you? I'm really intrigued. Okay, so we got the stats, but what's stopping you from being the best you and the best version of you today? What is stopping you from making that decision to be the healthiest you, so you can be functional, you can feel good, you can look good, and all those things? I'm really intrigued to find out what that is, and maybe when we get some of those questions, those answers in, we can start to address some of those. So I really look forward to that. So thank you for joining us. This is Real Talk, where we bring you inspiration, motivation, but empowering, content, so you can be the very best version of you. Make sure you subscribe so you get access to these, and also look out for Gen TV as well, where you'll be able to not just hear us but also watch the video too. All right, God bless you. See you soon. Bye.